I remember when I was little, and we used to go home to Paxton, Illinois, and on Sundays we used to go down to the little Christian church, kind of downtown. It was all kind of old school town, lots of gingerbread houses, and the house of God was white and beautiful, and you'd go inside and there would be all the stained glass windows, and it would kind of fall on everyone. And I remember that our preacher there would get up, and he was a short man, a very good man, would get up, and he had this raspy voice, and it had this old-time evangelist quality to it. And he would often yell and rave from the pulpit. There was an artistic quality about it, so to speak, but I remember being, as a kid, not liking the yelling a whole lot, and for some reason feeling guilty even when I didn't even know what sin was. I was that young. But I remember sitting there thinking, you know, what if this is all just false? What if, you know, the preacher really doesn't believe in this and nobody else does? They just kind of do it for us and try to, you know, fool us all. And, you know, I kind of put those things out of my mind, but still they're kind of there. And many years later, of course, I read Hawthorne's Young Goodman Brown. And a lot of what he talks about there is kind of that sort of thing. It's like, only for him it was a deeper psychological darkness where people actually lived lives that appeared to be holy to Young Goodman Brown going up, but in his dream or his experience, whatever you want to call that story and say that's what it's about, he discovers the dark side of everyone around him. And he feels a sense of disillusionment about religion and people, but he never knows if he's right in that disillusion or if it's true. And it's one of the things that's kind of haunting about the story. And that's why Hawthorne and Melville were famous for that sense of ambiguity. Like, what do you mean? What are you saying? Where does he end up? Why can't he end up being with one side or another? And the fact of the matter is, when it comes to belief and faith, things are never quite so clean cut. Anyway, I wrote this Old Goodman Brown based on Young Goodman Brown by Hawthorne. I just thought, well, this is kind of an interesting exploration of an idea that's dark. And Halloween's coming up. And I have to say that the things that scare me the most really aren't ghosts and goblins or things that hurt me from the outside. It's the internal things that I find quite frightening, maybe truths that you dare not look into too much, or other things, the darkness that you might find in your own soul, so to speak. And so it's kind of a reflection on those things. What can I tell you about Hawthorne? He was born in 1804, lived for 60 years and died. He was a part of what's called the Transcendentalist movement, probably about the second generation. He met Emerson, he met Thoreau, he even married a Transcendentalist whose name was Sophie. And she was an artist, a painter, illustrator. And he lived quite a few years, and a lot of those years he struggled just like any other artist in history has struggled until he finally ended up publishing The Scarlet Letter. And that was the thing that made him big. He didn't think he would ever be well known as an artist. Scarlet Letter proved him wrong, and it has become since one of the big books in the canon of American literature. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the story. I often think, well, if I ever have anything if I ever have anything that I don't want anybody to read, then I probably ought to put it on my blog. So the blog is not set up well for fiction or prose writing. It doesn't do indentations, so if I do quotes or, you know, if I have people speak in dialogue, it's awful hard to do that and have it come out right in the format, so I apologize for that. But it's still readable, and I think you'll find it interesting. It's not for children. A lot of the stuff that I write is for children. This one is more, has a lot of adult themes in it, so just wanted to kind of caution you and let you know.